And there you have it. There is your Akimbo Rapid Fire. So I get to unload both clips here just by tapping my paddle switch. Hi everybody, this is a tutorial on how to create an Akimbo Rapid Fire rune for your Berserker. So I will start by logging into the Forge, and let's add a new rune for my Xbox One Berserker. And I will name this appropriately Akimbo Rapid Fire. And for this tutorial, let's make this rapid fire, the Akimbo Rapid Fire, that we will use on our paddle switch on the bottom of the controller. And Akimbo Rapid Fire is the gist here is you want the mod to pull the left and right triggers for you in quick succession. This is for unloading both clips if you've got semi-auto dual-wielding pistols. In our tutorial today, we will use the M9A1 secondary pistols. Anyway, if you're not familiar, we are looking at the timeline editor, and you saw me there. I actually went and selected the left and right triggers and added those to the tracks. And we'll start with the right trigger, and you just left click once and it will start an action, and then we want to drag this action out to about right there. So what we're saying is we want something to happen on the right trigger, and we want that something to last for about 1/10 of a second. And that something is right now this slider bar tells you what that something is. So the skinny end of the bar means trigger is released, and the fat end of the bar means trigger is pressed. So right now we are saying we want the right trigger to press down for about 1/10 of a second. And then it'll release here. And then as soon as that releases, you'll get better action on the Akimbo Rapid Fire if you alternate. So rather than shooting both pistols at the same exact time, you actually go left, right, left, right, left, right, alternate back and forth. It kind of makes a machine gun effect. So as soon as the right trigger is done pressing, we are going to switch over to this track for the left trigger and do the same thing. And so when this rune plays back, it will play a right trigger press, then a left trigger press, and then it will loop and do a right trigger press and a left trigger press, and it'll just keep looping over and over and over again. Now, to determine how fast it's doing that, you'll have to do a little math. And so if we get one gunshot every 1/10 of a second, let's see, 1, 2, and you multiply that out, we would expect the two guns together to shoot about 10 rounds per second. And that's it. That's how you make an Akimbo Rapid Fire that we would assign to the paddle switch. So let's go ahead and hit the Create button to save our rune and go back to the main screen. Add a pack. Create a new pack here, and the next time I power up, once I load this rune pack into the controller, the next time I power it up, I want it to put the blue LED, the Quadrant 1 LED, I want it to be blue. I like blue. It's my favorite color. And then when I see this blue LED on, I'll know, hey, I've got my Akimbo test pack and I'm on page 1. And under group 1 here, let's go ahead and find that Akimbo Rapid Fire that we created. And in my case, I want it on the paddle switch. And the number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4 here, these represent the mod switches. These are the aftermarket switches that we have installed into the controller. So switch number 1 is the top left switch. Switch 2 is the bottom left switch, and if you have the paddle switch upgrade option, that'll be your left paddle switch. Switch number 3 is the top right switch, And then switch number 4 is the bottom right switch, and if you have the upgraded paddle switches, it will be your right paddle switch, which is what I want, the button I want to use when I want to call for Akimbo Rapid Fire. And go ahead and click this star. What that means is it will default with, when next time you boot up the controller, it will start out with the Akimbo Rapid Fire enabled. And let's go ahead and we want to see when it's enabled, and that's what this group indicator is. So anytime I enable this Akimbo Rapid Fire, I will see, I like green, let's pick green. My quadrant 2 indicator will light up in green. So this blue indicator just says, hey, you're on page 1, and I've just happened to make page 1 blue. And then this green indicator says, hey, by the way, you've got Akimbo active on this setup. And you don't have to use an LED. These LEDs are totally customizable, so you can use them to suit your tastes depending on what you want to see. And we'll go ahead and hit the create button to save this rune pack, and then hit the download pack button here in the upper right hand corner. It's going to save that to, usually it puts that in your downloads folder, and what I'm going to do is go ahead and copy that and put it in the same folder as my flashing utility. You'll have to refer to some of the other tutorial videos on installing this flashing utility and getting connected to your controller. We'll run through it right now. Anyway, let me start the camera. So I have the camera set very dark so that the LEDs will be easier to see. What you'll need is your controller, some batteries inserted into the controller, and that USB to micro USB cable. And to enter the special programming mode for this controller so that you can upload your rune pack to the controller, hold the left bumper and the right bumper and then press the Xbox guide button. You'll see at least one purple LED light up. That purple specifically means the controller has gone into Windows programming mode. So at this time we can plug in a cable in the back, that micro USB cable, to the aftermarket jack that we installed on the back between the mod switches. And at this point we can see 4 purple LEDs blinking away. What this means is Windows is now communicating with the mod chip inside of the controller. And now all we need to do is go over to our Viking Berserker utility in Windows. It says it sees that the device is attached. We will go select that Akimbo test pack that we created, double click, program the controller with the current file, and you'll see a progress bar. You'll see some messages here to let you know what's going on. So the first thing it's going to do is erase any of the rune packs or runes that were already on the controller. It takes about 10 seconds. It's going to write the new runes, which goes pretty quick, and then it's going to go through a verification. The verification right now is slow, but we'll be releasing an updated version of the Windows app soon that will significantly speed up the verification time. So we'll just have to wait for the verification to complete, and then we will be able to get into the game with this controller and show you what that Akimbo rapid fire rune that we just created looks like. Once the verification is done, we want to make sure we get that erase program sequence completed successfully, so we get the thumbs up message down here at the bottom. Go ahead and hit this little line button. It'll reset the controller. Basically, it'll reboot the mod chip. It'll exit programming mode, and then it'll start. Basically, it'll start running that rune pack that we just sent to it. Okay, there it is. It's the controller is now running the rune pack we sent it. You can see now on the controller, quadrant 1 LED is blue, just like we told it to do. That means we're on page 1 in our particular setup, and then the quadrant 2 LED is green. And what that's telling us, of course, is, hey, your Akimbo rapid fire is active. So let's go ahead and grab a soldier here with the M9A1 dual wielding pistols. And here goes the test. I'm going to press the bottom right paddle switch. We'll see what happens. And there you have it. There is your Akimbo rapid fire. So I get to unload both clips here just by tapping my paddle switch. So, you know, obviously this is pretty handy mod. I know it's kind of a simple mod, but it's handy because I can run around, you know, in a stock setup here with my marksman rifle, and then if I get caught off guard, somebody's up close, I can switch to those Akimbo pistols and just tap my paddle switch and just unload on them. So it's pretty useful. It's a pretty useful mod. It's simple but it's powerful. So that's it. That's the tutorial for creating an Akimbo rapid fire rune that we assign to our paddle switch. I hope this was informative for you guys, and we'll bring some more tutorials soon. Thanks.